Imagine standing in a quiet social setting. Your mind is racing with ideas you want to express, yet your hand feels as heavy as lead. You are worrying. What if I say something wrong? What will they think of me? This tense internal friction is, for most of us, a constant state of existence. This is Agora, today. We are exploring a book that might just rewrite the underlying logic of your life, The Courage to be Disliked. The structure of this book is fascinating. Rather than a dry collection of theories, it was co-authored by a scholar of Adlerian psychology and a professional writer. The entire text adopts an ancient and captivating form, a dialogue. It follows a young person filled with despair, deep-seated feelings of inferiority, and a belief that happiness is unattainable, who visits a philosopher, claiming that the world is remarkably simple. Throughout 5 nights of debate, the youth raises the same doubts we all carry, while the philosopher offers answers that are nearly cold in their honesty, yet profoundly liberating. There is one core assertion in the book that might startle you: all suffering, at its essence, stems from interpersonal relationships. We are accustomed to blaming our unhappiness on objective facts, such as our height, our wealth, or our upbringing. However, the book provides a compelling example. If you are only 150 centimeters tall, that should simply be a physical data point. What truly causes suffering is the value system of a society that attaches a negative evaluation to being short, and the fact that you have placed yourself into a comparison with others. In other words, if you were the only person left on Earth, height and wealth would lose all meaning. All troubles exist because you are living in the eyes of others. So, how do we liberate ourselves from these endless expectations? The philosopher introduces a remarkably clear logical tool called the separation of tasks. To put it simply, it is about clearly identifying whose task is this. For instance, I am standing here sharing my sincere thoughts. That is my task. Whether you feel inspired after listening or choose to leave a critical comment, that is your task. Once you learn to stop interfering with the tasks of others, the world suddenly becomes bright. We often feel exhausted because we are worrying for others or attempting to manipulate their evaluations of us. This is precisely where we lose our freedom. There is also a very unexpected insight here. The more someone is obsessed with the approval of others, the more self-centered they actually are. It sounds contradictory, doesn't it? But think back to the moments when you were afraid to speak up. In those moments, your entire radar was pointed at yourself. Do I look good? Will they laugh at me? Your world contained only the me in the eyes of others, rather than what can I contribute to this moment. This tension is the very root of suffering. If you feel that living for yourself sounds selfish, the philosopher would tell you that the separation of tasks is actually about letting go of your kidnapping of others. For example, in family relationships, we often say, "I am doing this for your own good," but this is frequently just an excuse to impose our own expectations on someone else. Only when you accept that everyone has their own tasks can you truly let go of that heavy sense of sacrifice. We are all like Sisyphus, pushing a stone up a mountain. If the stone is rolling down the slope, it might feel comfortable and easy. But in that process, your sharp edges are being worn away. You might become smooth and well-rounded, but you are no longer happy. When you realize that you are being worn down by this compliance, the opportunity for change appears. Change, of course, is painful. If you find an excuse blaming your past or your parents, you can justify not changing and maintain a false sense of internal harmony. But as long as you want to change, a choice is always available. What truly stands in our way is not a lack of ability, but a lack of the courage to be disliked. Being disliked does not mean you should go out of your way to be annoying. It means you finally possess the freedom to be yourself. You no longer need to sacrifice your authentic self to maintain a superficial harmony. When you can calmly accept the fact that some people might dislike me, you have truly stepped onto the path of freedom. Stop taking responsibility for the tasks of others. Start taking responsibility for your own choices. This is Agora. See you next time.